January 6, 2014, and we will begin with a brief invocation to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all please rise. Tonight, as we begin the year of 2014, we are thankful for the many blessings that have been showered upon our community over the many years, and we have hopes and fond dreams that 2014 will be remembered as another very progressive year in the history of our town. Tonight, we want to specifically call attention to the adverse weather that we've experienced over the last few days and express our appreciation and thanks for all the many blessings that have been showered by members of our community and specifically by members of the city's staff and all the various functions that they have performed over and beyond the call to duty in aiding our citizens in various weather-related issues. We are thankful we have such a highly talented and ready-to-serve crew at our disposal, and we really truly count this as one of the genuine blessings of our community. Tonight, as at all nights, we want to remember those from our community who are serving on foreign soil in defense of the liberties of the United States of America, and we just ask that a special blessing be showered upon them. Tonight also we ask for guidance and understanding and vision as we act upon the issues of business before us. We ask for all these blessings. Amen. Alderman Chanzit, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Brown?
Here.
Clark? Here. Atack? Here. Stark? Here. Chanzit?
Here.
Alderman Wolf is absent. Sparks?
Here.
O'Brien?
Here.
Callahan?
Here.
Alderman Homan is absent. Alderman Sam is absent. Vasilian? Here. Saron?
Here.
McFadden?
Here. Let the record reflect that 11 of the 14 elected aldermen are appointed, or elected aldermen are present and accounted for, so we have the necessary quorum to conduct business. I know that Alderman Sam is stuck in Arizona because of airplane configurations that she was not able to get out. I'm not sure where Alderman Holman is or Alderman Wolf, but we have the necessary quorum to do business. Moving then to item number 4, which are items to be removed, added, or changed on the agenda. Alderman Sparks, as Chairman of Governmental Services, do you have anything this evening?
Yes, Your Honor. We are removing item number 7, the Chamber of Commerce. We are removing item 8, presentation for Batavia Access Toy Drive update, and we are removing item 16, the executive session.
Okay.
I move that we accept the agenda as changed.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of the agenda as amended. Any discussion? I might note that as far as the Access Toy Drive, Mr. Bailey is on a business trip and got stuck out of the state, and they called this afternoon and indicated it would be their intentions to make their brief presentation at our next meeting, in the second meeting in January. Anybody else have any comments, questions? Okay, moving then to, we need a vote?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a motion then for the approval of the agenda as amended.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan? Aye. Vasilian?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown? Aye. Clark? Atack?
Aye.
Stark?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Motion's approved, 11 yes, no no's, 3 absent. Let the record reflect that Alderman Wolf has just entered the proceedings of the meeting. So we now have 12 elected aldermen present. Moving then to item number 5, which is presentation of tonight's consent agenda. Alderman Sparks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Consent agenda reads as follows. Approvals. Item A, December 20th, 2013 payroll in the amount of $796,582.45. The January 3rd, 2014 payroll in the amount of, I don't know, it's not on here. Do we? In the amount of $3,980,274.58. That was a check register, though. The 3 million amount was the accounts payable check register. There is no payroll on here. Item C, the city council minutes for December 2nd, 2013. Item D, ordinance 14-06, terminating the special service area number 55. I move that we accept, place on file the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Move by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atak.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Transit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved, 12 yes, no no's, 2 absent. Okay, moving to item number 6, matters from the public for items not on the agenda. Do we have anybody this evening? Okay, item number 7, the Chamber of Commerce report for this evening has been postponed, and item number 8, the presentation for the Batavia Access Toy Drive update will be presented at the next city council meeting. So we'll move then to item number 9, which is ordinance 14-02, amending zoning code. Alderman Brown, do you have this?
I do, Your Honor, thank you. At the JCAL meeting on December 17th, Drew Rakow presented these changes to us. Essentially, it's just an update on the ordinance amending the zoning code Title 10. There's a few chapters that were involved in this change. It was Chapter 4.2, 5.6, Chapter 6, and Chapter 7. We've all got the memo on it, but a couple of the high points that I'll point out on here that I thought were quite interesting and that we discussed at the committee meeting was the language in here about sport courts, where they're allowed and if they're allowed. For example, ice skating rinks, could they be placed in somebody's front yard? How close to the sidelines could they be put? So that's been put into the ordinance. Driveways, hard surface driveways are in here now. You can no longer put gravel driveways in on a new single-family or multifamily resident. They all have to be a hard surface driveway. Reasons for that is because the gravel seems to kind of wander around and get dragged out onto the street and ends up into the storm sewer and such. So that's been clarified. And then also salt storage. You've probably seen on a lot of these industrial, or not industrial, maybe even industrial, but commercial lots where you'll see a big pile of salt that they put out in a parking lot that they use over the winter, and staff felt it was very important, and the committee agreed that the salt not be put in an area that if it rains and the salt residue runs off, it could run directly into a storm sewer. So that language has been changed. The committee discussed this. They were in complete agreement, and I will move for approval of ordinance 14-02.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of ordinance 14-02, amending the zoning code. Any discussion?
I have
Alderman
a
Atak?
couple questions. Was the family that has the ice rink in front contacted about this code change? I had sent a couple emails asking questions before the holidays. I know it's been busy, but, and I'm not sure, I wondered whether the ice skating rink would be able to continue to exist with the front setback requirements, and I'm wondering if this has all been discussed with them.
No, we have not discussed it with them, but we believe that the parameters that are in this ordinance would allow it to remain based on the setbacks and everything else that are being proposed in here.
All right, since I'm not sure about that, I won't be supporting it. If it could continue to remain, I would support it, but I'd like to make sure that
We believe that the setbacks that are proposed for the temporary uses do address that and that they would allow it to remain. But we did not speak directly to them, to my knowledge.
Okay.
Other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atak.
No.
Stark.
Aye.
Transit. Wolf.
Aye.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Vasilian.
In support of Alderman Atak, I'll vote no also.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 14-02 is approved, 10 yes, 2 noes, and 2 absent. Okay, moving to item number 10, which is resolution 14-03-R, easement for community garden. Who's got that? Alderman Sparks?
Thank you, Your Honor. Resolution 1403R is an easement agreement for the community garden. It came to committee, and the discussion that was in committee had to do with the property being farm exempt and not paying any taxes. In committee, we decided and voted to change the lease to a year-to-year lease so we could review it every year to try to promote activity, to try to find a new location for the community garden. I think Bill wanted to say something. Did you want to say something? Because you sent a memo out. Saying you would prefer it to be a 4-year lease?
Well, I'd prefer to not be coming back every year in case it turns out that another site isn't found, and just have the right to be able to terminate the lease on 30 days' notice. But whatever is convenient.
Now, the lease
for you
right now
folks.
does not have a termination for the cities, on the city's behalf.
Right, I wasn't going to draft something without you discussing it. We missed a JCOW meeting, but if you wanted to, amend it and have it be for a longer period of time, but insert, a 30-day notice provision where we could terminate the lease, that would be fine. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the
Yeah,
other.
well, we discussed it in committee, and we did vote and decide to have it as a 1-year lease, so.
That's fine.
I'm going to make a motion to keep it as a 1-year lease and see where it goes. If it goes, we'll see where we stand next year with the community garden, what the choices are we have. So I move that we pass Resolution 14-03R, the easement agreement for the community garden.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman Stark for the approval of Resolution 14-03-R, the easement for the community garden. Any further discussion? Alderman Atek?
I agreed with this at committee, and I still agree with it, though I think the community garden is, I think we all agree, is really great for our community, and it's done all by volunteers. And good volunteers are hard to come by, and I think that as a city, we should be as careful as we can to make it easy for those volunteers to continue their work. So, I just think we want to keep that in mind when it's time for lease renewal and work with them as carefully or as helpfully as we can to make sure that the community garden continues.
Absolutely. Community garden is a wonderful thing. They donate food to the food pantry. As Lucy said, it's all volunteers, and nobody's looking to kick the community garden out of town or
I just
have
don't
them
want
lose their home.
to give them any difficulties.
Right.
I want to support them as much as possible, and I know that's our intent.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I want to remember that in a year from now.
okay. Thank you.
Alderman O'Brien?
I was just wondering if, as the emails were going around, that we're looking to give them a permanent home, if possible. And I know the Park District came up that they had land that perhaps they can work with us, and it came back that, it's on their 5 to 7 year future plan. I was wondering, it's kind of way off into the future, that maybe Mr. Mayor can speak to Pat Callahan, the president of the Park District, and help push it along. And I mean, it's for taxpayers. The community garden is it's a good endeavor. It's like Lucy says, it's run by a lot of volunteerism, and it's good for our city. And I think 5 to 7 years off into the future is kind of far out there, and I'd like to give them a permanent home as soon as possible, so they feel situated and ready to move forward.
I would just note, I've chatted with the Park District about this, and I think the Park District is trying very hard to come up with a location. They've just got some moving parts right now that it's kind of hard for them to commit on a site. I might note that I think as quickly as tomorrow night, you may get the opportunity to see the proposal that the staff has helped to work out of yet another location for a community garden. I think I'm okay to talk about that, am I, Scott? The one we talked about today, at the meeting you and I had? he's showing it on the plan, so I'm assuming we're gonna see it tomorrow night, so. Anyway, there's a lot of community gardens up in the, they're bouncing around here, and I think Batavia's commitment or contentions are to keep one or two, or have your choice of a couple different sites maybe. We're working on it, but, you know, right now, it's pretty hard to nail something down right at this particular moment, and I think what Alderman Sparks is presenting is just a very solid answer, at least for the interim future here, so I would encourage our support of that. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan? Vasilian?
As BEI is a client of mine, I abstain.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark? Atak?
Aye.
Stark? Transit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Motion's approved, 11 yes, 1 no, 2 absent. All right, moving then to item number 11, which is Resolution 14-04-R, authorizing application for 2014 Kane County Community Development Funds. Who's got this one? Alderman Brown?
I do, Your Honor, thank you. This memo was sent out on December 26th, right after Christmas, and it's kind of it's not a rush, but there is a time constraint on this. Scott sent the memo out on December 26th explaining what it's all about, and it kind of goes all the way back a year from now, a year ago, where there's also attached to the memo, a memo from Bill McGrath at that time, where we were trying to get the same grant, the money for the same purpose from the riverboat through the county. That didn't come through. There's also now, at this time, there's a grant that's possibly available from Kane County, and that money is federal money that the county distributes, and its intent is for to be used in an area where there's low income or community use of the betterment of the community, I guess I could say. So what this grant, what Scott's asking for is for us to approve for him to apply for the grant, and the total amount would be, that we'd be expending, would be expected to be around $130,000 for a study that we would ask the county for the grant of $50,000. Roughly another $50,000 would come out of probably TIF, and then $30,000 of like kind would be coming out of in-house services. And the idea here would be that we'd be looking at the downtown corridor, the riverfront most importantly. And the reason why Scott feels as though this qualifies, and Scott could speak if he wants to correct me, would be that the riverfront, you know, it serves everybody. It serves the entire town. It serves the businesses. It serves the community in general. And there's a lot that needs to be looked at with this riverfront. There's, whether we do hard surface, whether we do lookouts, whether we do any type of restoration to the riverbanks, what kind of housing do we put along the riverfront area. So it's mostly focused on the river, and the mayor kind of has really been focusing on this whole riverfront area in the last 2 years, and I commend him for this because it's really starting to take shape with getting rid of a lot of the invasive species that have been growing on the banks. I think, you know, a year ago, we could all say you really couldn't see the river when you walk by, but now you can see the river, and it's really, I thank you, Mayor, for, you know, really taking charge of this. And I think it's been the Park District also that, you know, you've been working with on this, so that's good. But anyway, that's what this grant is about. It's asking permission for Scott to apply for this grant. It had to be in by today, but the county gave a little bit of a leeway on that and said that as long as the city council approved it tonight, it was good to go. And if we do get the grant, we'll be working with the Park District on what we'll be looking to study and getting the study underway and how we're going to shape all that, and it would be coming back to JCAL for further discussion at that time. So I would ask for the approval of Resolution 14-04-R, Kane County 2014 Community Development Block Grant Application.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of Resolution 14-04-R for the Kane County Development Grant Fund application. Any discussion?
I have a
Alderman
question.
Strong?
Yeah, where exactly is this money coming in from, and how do we justify a TIF using it? I mean, what are we really going to accomplish by this study?
Well, Scott, you put a lot of thought into
Sure.
what the study's going to do.
Yeah.
You go ahead with that.
Essentially, this is no different than the grant that we applied for last time, about a year ago. We applied for it through riverboat funds, and then we were going to have a local match that was in the same amount that was being proposed this time, too. What our suggestion is to take it out of TIF funds. The entire study area is in our TIF district, one of the other TIF district. We're also talking with the Park District about perhaps if they can participate in the local match as well. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that is an option. We are proposing to have the local in-kind services be providing $30,000 worth of that. So block grants, this falls under the federal block grant program. Before, last year we had applied for sidewalk improvements. We had talked about that, but we felt that this is a very important part of the community to plan for the river corridor. The river corridor study actually completely falls within the area that's considered low and moderate income anyway, so it kind of really helps us. You can use block grant funds for areas that are outside of that area for planning purposes, but since this area falls within both the eligibility as well as the perimeter area for the low income, that it actually, should help us get these funds most likely, so.
We've got some pretty serious, significant erosion in the riverbank, especially by our power plant and heading down to the water treatment plant. Additionally, the riverbank really, some of it was stabilized just with the remains of the industrial buildings that were either burned down or torn down over the years. We've got some significant studies to be done to determine just what is to be done with it in terms of what part of it should be naturalized and what should be maybe hard edged because it's in an urban area, and this has a lot to do with economic development since some of those banks, the Larson Becker property that we own has naturalized riverbank. The strip center down here on Wilson and Island Avenue has some significant erosion problems that threatens a sanitary sewer line that we have in the bank of the river, and that also is an area where, depending on how it could be stabilized or hard-edged or whatever, it was always planned to be an extension of the bike path. So it's one of those things where it's not visibly crying for help, but slowly it's going to become an issue someday, and so we just have to start getting our arms around that now. There certainly would be time to discuss how much or whether TIF money should be used for it or not. Our main thing was to see if we could get some money, or at least have the grant looked upon favorably. So my remarks are more towards the importance of starting to look at the river in the city and taking a real look at it as a separate entity instead of being the backside of a building and coming up with a plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does to me, but I guess part of the study we'll learn how much of that riverfront we can actually affect, how much is private, how much we have control over. So, like the back of a building, whatever we come up with a plan, do we really have the control to determine what is done back there?
Well, yes and no, and it's something that we ultimately would try and come up with a plan, and we would engage those property owners in the plan. I know some of them, since some of them could actually end up with more saleable and developable land, would love to see something done with it. It also involves the IDNR and, Office of Water Resources and the Army Corps of Engineers. So it's be kind of an extensive thing. It could take in the issue of the dam, but I'm at the moment the focus is on number one, erosion, and number two, just what are we going to do as we head into redevelopment of some of these properties.
Comments or questions?
I would say, I would support this. I mean, this is a major issue in our downtown, and, you know, we gotta think bigger and think future. And this is just the first step of, I believe, a long process. So it's something I would definitely support to start working to get our river back.
I guess I would just like to say, sorry, I guess I would just like to say, I wish, since we had this about a year ago, kind of buttoned down the park's commitment on financially being a part of this within the last year, so that they would have a dollar amount. But since this appears that we're just authorizing the application, maybe if we get it, we can have some of those issues resolved
Right.
beforehand.
Right. And I apologize for the lateness of this, but, you know, the way the application period is in Kane County with some of their programs, you know, we get these applications in relatively late. The holidays come in, we miss meetings and such. We did meet with the Park District after we made the initial application through the Riverboat program last year, quite a number of times, just to try and start developing a scope of what this would be. But, you know, worst case scenario, if you know, we get the grant and we're not able to secure, you know, some match from them, or if we don't feel that we want to participate that much, you know, we can reject the grant.
A lot of the study area is their property, isn't it?
Correct, yes, it is. Mhm.
Their fiscal year doesn't start till May 1st, so that actually there's plenty of time for us to see, to try and negotiate with them and make sure that it becomes some kind of conditional priority with them based on when we get word on the grant.
Other comments or questions? And not, I'd entertain, call for the vote on Resolution 14-04-R.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark? Atack?
Aye.
Stark? Transit? Wolf?
Aye.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan? Vasilian?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye. Resolution 14-04-R is approved, 12 yes, no no's, 2 absent. Move to 12, the Administrator's Report, Mr. McGrath.
Thanks. Brief report. I certainly want to thank everyone from Public Works and for what they've been doing over the last several weeks. I think we all have seen what they've done. I think anybody who's traveled outside of town knows that our streets are really some of the best in the area. I know it's been challenging for citizens as well because there just is a lot of snow. This always disrupts kind of this balance we have between taking care of vehicles and making sure that people can get to work, school buses can get to the schools, the ambulances and fire trucks can get to the residents and back to the hospitals, and this does put some pressure on sidewalks and sidewalk crossings. So we are looking at that, but we appreciate the patience of the citizens as well for bearing with us during the storms and the cold. Relating to the cold, the City Hall is open as a warming center if need be for people. They can come 24/7, depending on how many people are here. We'd open up leave the lobby open by the police department, or if necessary, there are plans to open up this area for people. I want to just let you know, at an FYI, we have received a significant number of real estate taxation appeals. We work with the city attorney's office, who works with the state's attorney's office, to monitor those and make sure that that process works appropriately. It's the source of a lot of property tax revenue for the city. On Walgreens, we've had 2 meetings over the last couple of weeks. I think we've made a lot of progress. As of last week, on Friday, or actually we received a phone call today giving us, I think, some positive response to the results of those 2 meetings. Last week, the petitioner asked us to wait until the end of January or the beginning of February so that we make sure that we have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed before we brought it to JCOW. Right now, we tentatively are thinking we can bring this to the JCOW on January 28th, and then hopefully bring it to council soon after that, either February 3rd or February 17th. They are doing the current redraft of the agreement. When we get that, we'll review it and get it out to all of you. I'm pleased also to tell you that, as you've seen maybe on your calendar for next week, we are having meetings on 2 economic development projects here in the downtown. We're trying, hopefully, we'll be meeting this week with Mario Aliano of Aliano's Restaurante on an expansion. He's been working for several months on some plans for an expansion and some improvements to the current building. There's a significant problem with the building in that a grease trap was never built into the facility. Chris Asen has been working diligently with the property owners, and so I think we'll be meeting with them, and the upshot is we'll be coming to you, making a proposal for some support for them that's based upon some investment by the property owners and Alianos. And then lastly, we issued a demolition permit today for, I'm not sure what the new restaurant will be called, but I'll call it Gaetano's. Gaetano is a resident of Batavia who owns a well-established restaurant in Forest Park, a very well-known restaurant in Forest Park. They are going to be hopefully setting up a second site at the corner of River and Wilson where the Rhino Room was. We issued a demo permit for them today, and we'll be meeting with the building owner and hopefully Gaetano this week or early next week and try to come to you next week with a larger description and some TIF assistance or suggestions for TIF assistance for that project. So that's very exciting. It's, like as I say, a very well-known restaurant and just what we can use for downtown. And that's all I have.
Any questions of Mr. McGrath? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, committee reports, community development, Alderman Brown.
No report tonight, Your Honor, but some meetings to announce, and that is tomorrow night, Tuesday, January 7th, at the J-Cow. We are going to have, for the first time in a long time, a proposal for a new residential subdivision in Batavia. It's called the Landmeyer Farms Residential Development. The developer is M.I. Homes, and that property is on McKee Street, west of Randall Road on the north side. So that'll be tomorrow night. That's a informal presentation at this time, and then at that point, the developer will decide based on what the committee has to say, what direction he's going to go from there. And then we also have an engineering services agreement that we need to take a look at. It's being brought to us by Noel Basquin. This is for some work that WBK did on Wilson Street for some extra work due to all the rock excavation. So that'll be on the J-Cal tomorrow night. The Plan Commission meeting for January 8th has been canceled. Historic Preservation for January 13th is scheduled for 5:30. There's nothing on the agenda at this point that I know of, but it is scheduled for 5:30. And then, as Mr. McGrath said, the J-Cow on January 14th, we've got those 2 economic development agreements that are on the agenda tentatively, and that's all I have.
Questions, Mr. Brown? Thank you. Community, or public utilities, Alderman Clark, please.
Looks like there isn't any public utility matters until the January 14th Committee of the Whole, Joint Committee of the Whole, so it looks like there's a power agreement on that agenda. Other than that, I have nothing to report.
Thank you. City Services, Alderman Wolf.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tomorrow night's J-Cow, City Services has Safe Routes to School agreement to discuss.
Okay. City Government Services, Alderman Sparks.
Thank you. The only thing is on January 14th, J-COW meeting for the business surveys. We're going to discuss those tentatively. Thank you.
Your Honor, I forgot one thing.
Alderman Wolf.
Garbage pickup is delayed one day this week because of the weather today. They pushed it back one day. I know we all got the message, but I wanted to get that out to the general public and anybody else that doesn't get our emails.
Okay. We have other business from the City Council this evening. Alderman Callahan.
I would just like to bring up, as a member of the Ole Award Committee, the Inspire 2014 will be held on January 31st from 6 until 9-ish, with a first-ever after-hours party at Aliano's. The Citizen of the Year is going to be awarded to Jim Hansen, and there will be 7 Olay Awards given out this year. There was, I believe, over 50 or so candidates this year that we sorted through. So I would just like to make sure that everyone is invited, and please do attend. The tickets are $35, and you can buy them from the Chamber website. Thank you.
Alderman Stark?
I just want to thank everyone who came out on New Year's Eve for the very brief fireworks presentation for the 180th anniversary of Batavia, jointly with the Fireworks Committee. We had quite a few people. We raised a little bit of money. We had about 43 seconds of fireworks. It was a picture-perfect night down on the riverfront. The skating pond was open, and we had a lot of people ice skating and drinking hot chocolate and watching fireworks and listening to the community band play, and it was just a terrific night, and hopefully we'll be able to continue this tradition because everyone who was there had a great time. We didn't have to be out at midnight. It was from 9 to 9:30, and I really appreciate everybody who did come out. So that's all I had.
I would just note, I've had a lot of people comment to me following that event about kind of the weather conditions that kind of added to that. It was cold, but there was a little snow in the sky, and firing those fireworks off into that snow really created quite a sparkle. I mean, it was some, I saw some pictures that some folks had taken, and there was some really colorful moments there for the 43 seconds that we lit up the skies of Batavia. I mean, it was, those who missed it did really truly miss something, because it was very unique, and I certainly got rave reviews from the folks that were here, and the crowd, at 8:45, there was hardly anybody here, and by 9 o'clock, there was probably almost 400 people walking around here, so it was pretty, they came kind of out of nowhere, and it was, I would describe it as well-attended for the moment, and certainly memorable for those who came, so appreciate all the efforts of the Fireworks Committee and the Community Band, which were the two big draws, and everybody seemed to really draw upon the idea and thought it was a nice event, so thanks to all those involved. Anybody else? Under the mayor's report tonight, I just want to take a minute, as Alderman Brown has already alluded to. I would like to seriously encourage, well, I think all of you are planning to come to the JCOW tomorrow night, but this presentation that we're going to have tomorrow night from MI Homes about this landmire development is a little bit different than what we've done in Batavia to this point in time. I don't want to steal their thunder, but they've got some ideas of some stuff that we really don't have anything quite like it in town, and it is something that I've had a lot of people in Batavia over the last several years tell me they wish we had something like this, and they're going to propose to do some stuff. They want to do stuff a little bit different than some of our zoning ordinances have allowed to this point in time, but they've got, I think, some pretty valid ideas about what it is they're trying to create, and I really would like to encourage you all to come down and understand what they're talking about. That being said, I'm telling more and more people this because I'm almost on a daily basis down here, or as I'm walking around town or I'm in the city hall, we're getting all kinds of people in here asking a lot of questions, and I can't begin to tell you how thankful I am for the development staff that we have put together here in the last year or two of the people that we now have online here, because about 2006, between 2006 and 2007, development on a residential arena basically kind of went silent in Batavia, and we basically went from building a lot of houses to very, very few, if any, for a number of years. So we're almost on a 7 to 8 year hiatus of any significant residential building in this town. And from what I can tell, that all may be about to change, and I think that maybe speaks to the faith and the changes that people are seeing in the national economy. But there suddenly is, as it was predicted to me by the Federal Reserve about 2 years ago, Batavia, Geneva, St. Charles area was going to be one of the first areas in the Chicagoland region that would really start to see the bounce back or the return to a significant economic upswing. And by all signs, that is starting to appear here. And I joked with somebody the other day that as I drive around Batavia and I see what is the undeveloped parcels of land, I'm hard pressed almost at the moment to tell you that any place that's undeveloped at the moment seems to got somebody in here asking questions about it, whether they're thinking about wanting to buy it or want to know who owns it or what's it's owned for, or they've got a development proposal for it. And so I've even had some in the last couple of weeks of stuff I didn't even think was in play. People showed up with ideas about trying to do some stuff on different pieces. So this could end up being quite a monumental year for new development ideas, specifically on the residential arena. And if the residential arena is surrounding us with new development here, that probably is going to excite and drive some more commercial and retail activities, because the retail folks specifically chase the residential folks to some, at least that's my observation and my experience. And right now, we do have some people, and last year we kind of kicked this thing off, and with the Mooseheart annexation that includes 830 houses that we don't know when they'll ever be built, but that is a goodly number. If you start adding up all the numbers of things you're going to hear about tomorrow night and other things, we could very well be looking at, development numbers of between 1,200 and 1,500 new units here of housing in some form or fashion in the near term, and that will be a goodly number of houses for this town to take, although many of them are going to be seemingly age-restricted, so I don't know how many new kids we're going to get out of this, but there could be a number of new residents coming into this community, and we seem to be a place that a lot of people want to take a look at. So I'm excited about what I'm beginning to see as a development kind of return here that we haven't had, and we've been, as I say, quiet for almost 8 years, and now suddenly instead of building 5 or 10 or 14 new houses a year, we could be going up into, the triple numbers here, I would think, as the time marches forward. So let us move cautiously forward, but there's almost an air of excitement returning to the development world, which has been kind of quiet here for some time. And so we talked about, when Dave said that we didn't have anything scheduled for the Plan Commission meeting, I have a feeling that's going to start changing here relatively quick, that the Plan Commission is going to become kind of the busy place, and the JCOW will be, obviously, you get to probably see it before they do, and it's going to be an interesting time this year if the economy holds together and things go forth. We talked about the new restaurant that's proposing to come in at River and Wilson, and I have a terrible time saying that, Guy Tunnels. They have an existing restaurant, and they have invited me to come, and I haven't been there, but I have, in my other roles in the world, I have the opportunity to be over in the Old Park, River Forest Park area with some regularity in the last few weeks, and so I went looking for this place, and I get it. So I'm just sharing this with you, so that if any of you have the desire that you want to go over and try out this new restaurant that's thinking about moving to Batavia, I'm going to tell you where it is, so you don't go through the same experience I had, because I got some wrong directions to begin with, and that was my fault. And it's in the 7600 block of West Madison Street, which is in Forest Park. It's on the south side of the street, and the key to this thing is it's west of Des Plaines Boulevard or Avenue that runs. Des Plaines is the road that runs off the Eisenhower Expressway before you get to Harlem Avenue. There's an exit, and it's right there by the infamous cemetery that the Eisenhower runs through. You just get off there and you go north. Once you come off on Des Plaines Avenue, and you go north up just a few blocks, and then you take a left and go west, and the Gaetano's is in the first block right off of Des Plaines on the south side of the street, and it's kind of sitting in the middle of the block, so it's not highly visible, but it's there. But I want to tell you, I've talked to a number of people from other communities, and specifically mayors and that who are around that immediate area over there. Everybody gives this place really high marks as a well-respected, highly patronized restaurant of some special fare. And the owners live in Batavia, and they moved here about a year and a half ago. And I've met with them, as the staff has, several times. It's kind of an exciting thing, because I know some people who know some Chicago TV personalities who tell me that those people go to this place. I mean, so you get some fairly famous people coming to this restaurant in Forest Park. And so they're kind of excited. The owners of Gaetano's are kind of excited about the Batavia location. They've got some pretty interesting ideas of what they'd like to do with the old Rhino Room building over there, and a lot of transformation that they're talking about as far as kind of redesigning the layout of it a little bit. And they want to do some stuff out on the sidewalks on River Street with some tables and some other interesting things. And I think it's going to be a neat little addition on that corner over there. So, again, if you're looking for someplace to go to dinner some night, Eisenhower Expressway to Des Plaines, go left up the street, and then go west on Madison. It's on Madison, this address, 7600 block, and it's on the south side of the street. And it's there, and it's supposedly very good food. So if you're out and about and want to do something different, you can get a feel for what's coming to Batavia in the near term. They're telling me they hope to be open sometime in this spring, so they're not looking to have a long, drawn-out entryway before they get in here. The other thing I want to share with you is that the next meeting, we could have a jam-packed crowd here, because at the beginning of the meeting, we're inviting the Batavia Bulldogs down, as we did in 2006 when we went to the state tournament and won second place. We've got a nice certificate that Alderman Sparks is helping Jen Armbrust work up, and we're going to give them, each player, a certificate. And I don't know if they're all coming. Coach Piron doesn't know if he wants to bring them all down here or not, but we'll send him back with all the certificates for all the players that don't come. But they're all going to be, somebody's going to be here to get the cities, and your names are all on it. It's a very pretty, colorful certificate that we gave. The 2006 ones we gave almost became collector's items. We had people calling up wanting to buy them and everything else, and we said, nope, they're only for the team. And so we're excited that we're going to have that to do, and so that'll be at the next meeting. And next meeting could be a action-packed jam crowd in here if we bring all the players, because are there 99? Were there 99 on that team?
I think it's about 90.
Yeah, something like that. So, anyway, I guess that's it. Alderman Brown, you want to make a motion for adjournment?
We adjourn the city council meeting.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman O'Brien. Clerk, take a voice vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.